Hello, hello. We are here, and Connor changed the overlays around.
Yep, Connor.
Great. I noticed
What do
that
you mean I
as soon
changed
as
the overlays around?
your camera turned on and off, and so I have to reset everything because you're at the
What?
top of the order.
Literally every time we start an episode, my brain goes, say, hey, 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 it's Fat Albert. Every time we start anything, my brain is like, do it, do it.
We've been doing this for 4 years, David, and you have never said that.
Well,
So
okay,
you
maybe
have
every time would be like the
monumental
last couple
powers.
years.
Monumental powers of self-control.
I don't though, because I just said it.
I have literally jumped in and done the intro for Caleb a couple of times. I don't have the impulse control you have.
Well, I mean, at least that's related to what we're doing. What I was doing was like a 10-year-old joke, so I don't think it has the same kind of legitimacy.
Jared, you want to turn your camera on?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, now that Connor ruined the intro, let's go ahead.
I didn't do anything.
I mean, it made me feel confident enough to say that because I wasn't ruining anything because it was already ruined.
Yeah,
so thank you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That was what we call a save. A save, because like you made it funny instead of just being like me. Oh, I gotta read through all the,
Thanks. I'll pretend I did that on
We had
purpose.
something to
Thank
talk
you.
about. Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Where did you find all these really cool images for this map, by the way?
Remember when I bought that map maker software a while ago when we were doing the Astoria stuff? This is all from that. It's all the features.
All of these cool icons are from that? What?
Yeah, they have a lot of cool icons.
Oh my gosh, these are so sick. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, so we did name a few things on the map since last time. The urban hellhole filled with the poor and shunned is now named Kelith. And the vault that preserves art of the before for all eternity is called the Crypt of 1,000 Years.
That's pretty sick.
And it's a bit of a mess right now.
It's a bit of a mess right now because they kind of left it in tatters.
Do we know what the Endless Echo is? Because I don't feel like I remember this, and
yes,
it looks pretty legit.
Yes, the Endless Echo is one of the things that Connor put on there for the recollection, and it's screens that replay videos of the last moments of the fall over and over again for eternity.
Oh.
Yeah.
How have I not blown this place up yet? I feel like I might have to blow this place up.
No, but it's so good. Don't destroy my creation.
Okay,
it's literally like anti-me. All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. A couple of things I want to go run through before some housekeeping before we get started in earnest. Because we have Jared now, I want to go through real quick the surpluses and needs for your faction and what that actually means specifically, like mechanically and narratively for you, just so you get a feel of how what the state of your faction actually is. So you have the surpluses of safety and justice, right? So safety, having a surplus of safety means you luxuriate in hard-earned peace and stability. The struggles of survival are beginning to fade from memory, and you're beginning to get a sense of what life was like before the fall, right? So in general, you've recovered from the apocalypse in a way that the other factions haven't, right? So you guys basically live as if you are like a normal,
a normal death camp.
Yeah, yes, a normal paramilitary elites. Yeah.
Okay.
You also have a surplus of justice. Everyone who's done you wrong has been brought to task and your family is at peace. Others now seek you out to advocate for them. So basically, you don't have any outstanding like revenge things that you need to take care of. You don't have any injustices that were done to you that you haven't taken care of. Everyone's pretty much has left you alone.
Your book of grudges has all of its check marks.
Exactly. So that's all true about your faction. But you have needs of prestige, morale, and defenses. So needing prestige means your family are pariahs, disdained, or beneath others' notice. Your citizens get more done when they hide their affiliation, and though others will respect bargains and obligations, they'll do so grudgingly. So basically, if anyone, you're obviously kind of sort of secretive, but if anyone ever finds out anything about like who you are, they'll treat you as outcasts or pariahs. You don't really have a good reputation among anyone who knows who you are. You also have a need for morale. Your family has descended into backbiting, factionalism, and despair. Any attempt to organize them into group action is likely to run into complaint, sabotage, or apathy, which totally makes sense because you're all independent cells that are kind of working with each other but against each other at the same time. So,
and your grudge book is disturbingly empty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your grudge book is starting to fill up with your buddies' names because you ran out of stuff.
Yeah.
You ran out of common enemies.
Yeah.
I killed that guy who killed my brother, but you stole my toothbrush once, and I haven't shot anyone in a long time.
Exactly, right? Yeah. You also have the need for defenses. Your family's holdings are unprotected. Saboteurs and raiders could take your stuff without much effort. Your vehicles are constantly being worn down by the elements, and so on. So basically, even though you're safe from the apocalypse, you don't really have like a secure holdings, right? So any place that you guys are is probably temporary. It's probably like quickly taken down because you're at risk of being found and like attacked and probably taken over because your strength is in secrecy, probably, right? More than anything.
So if I offered him a place to defend and he offered me guns to defend it with, could we get rid of both of our defense needs? Because I mean, he was supposed to give me defense, but if he doesn't have defense for himself,
so this is
but
the
it's
thing.
kind of a different flavor.
You could do that, but the issue would. So what would actually happen is if we went down that route, Jared as the last watch would have to like roll to convince his family to all do that because they have a lack of morale, right? So the issue would be because right now they're dispersed, right? So they're kind of everywhere. But if you were to do that, you'd change them from being dispersed to being settled.
Right.
And that would be a major thing that would like he'd have to roll for it.
Sick.
Yeah. But that's a route you could take. It would just be like Jared's character would have to go convince other independent cells. Like there has to be a whole thing there. So.
And I'm not sure how much certain cells like slavery.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might look more like you have to go kill the ones who want to kill me before the rest of them are okay.
Yeah.
But I could help with that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So just to keep that all in mind, Jared, that is the state of your family. I'm gonna post all that in chat, in Roll20 chat for you, just so you have the writing to look at if you want to copy that somewhere. Cool. Yeah. So where we left off with all the factions,
I ask what my thing was because I don't think I wrote it down anywhere except for the character sheet, and I can't see that right now. The thing I got at the end of the last session for Beirut, because I had an idea for it, but I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah,
I got a lead on something.
Down.
I got a lead on like engineering or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, you had you had a lead. Yes, you had a lead on engineering, and it was because you were doing spy stuff in the New Harmony.
Okay, I think I know what it is or where it is. And stuff. I don't know if you want me to talk about it now.
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
So I think we just had a why can I literally? It's not that complicated. What are the angels called?
The Forgotten Heralds.
Thank you. I don't know why I forget that. That's not a hard name to remember. The Forgotten Heralds.
Because they're forgotten.
There we go. There was just a Forgotten Herald roaming around in the Recollections sort of area, right? Or no, in the New Harmonies area. From last game. Right? Or no, that was the Recollection.
That was a Recollection, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I get their names mixed up for some reason.
Technically, I mean, he was in Nadir, so it's technically also your kind of...
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. Okay. Because my thought was that the most logical thing to help my weird, like, unknowable tech is the weird unknowable tech from another galaxy that's over here and broken.
Right, yeah. The bridge to the Heavenly City is severed beyond repair. Yeah. Yeah,
I think maybe that he found out that they're through research in some way found that there would be something like that. I mean, maybe he just found out something about the Forgotten Heralds he didn't know through the New Harmony or whatever. But I think that is the most logical place for him to go for that. And I think it would be cool to see some of the inherently lost or Forgotten Herald stuff.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to start with that, or do we want to start with the defenses thing that we talked about? Because since that would be a flashback.
If that's a flashback, I think it makes sense to do that first.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, then I won't have a defense need going into that scene.
Right. So let's go ahead and start there real quick. I realized that my my overlays are slightly wrong because I didn't fix that Connor is playing the Recollection and not the Hellbreakers. So on this particular overlay, because we haven't done it. with 6 people.
Did we want to talk about the other factions stuff before we zoomed in? I know you mentioned that earlier, so I didn't know.
I mean, yeah, so that's the thing, right? Like, I think you'd be making a family roll first anyway. But yeah, we can basically. What I kind of want to get here in the beginning is let's just hop around to a bunch of different faction stuff, and do some big the family moves. But we can do that one at a time, like, right? Because any of those could turn into scenes. So we can start with this one, right? But I think it would be a family move to start with.
Sure, yeah. I don't know what the family moves are.
Yeah,
I assume it's a handout.
I'll grab them. Yeah, it's in the handouts.
Moves, yep.
Conduct diplomacy is what you're doing right now.
Hey, Caleb.
Cool.
Does each thing have a family move that's specific to whatever? Like each character or whatever faction?
What do you mean?
Does each faction or whatever have a specific family move unique to them?
Yes, I'm going back to the family playbooks right now, so you can all see those since we're in the family stuff. Yes, you have specific moves. Each faction.
Pretty sure
does.
I had a good one.
Yeah, you had
against David.
Let's see. You have smoke and mirrors. You have infiltrated every family and faction in the homeland. Choose an extra thing your agents achieve on any subterfuge hit. And then a wilderness of mirrors. All secret agents use your techniques. Whenever anyone gains surplus spies, gain 2 treaty on them. So that's cool.
Okay.
Those are your special moves that you have. But then everyone has access to all the family moves, which can be found in the handouts.
Yeah.
And we are in the zoomed out phase right now. So these are the ones that are relevant. So yeah, if you guys, while we're kind of running through this with David real quick, if you want to look at those family moves and just kind of think about like your needs and surpluses, what your faction kind of wants to accomplish right now, or something your character specifically wants to accomplish, while we're beginning this thing real quick. Just keep that in mind.
How do you gain surplus spies?
Through the fiction, right?
So, like, if you had a zoomed in one that was you infiltrating spies into that faction, then they would probably gain the surplus spies. I think is what that means, right? Or does it mean
specifically
when they
for
get
surplus
their own
spies? It means for that move particularly. Let me look.
Does that mean he's planting his spies?
No.
Or...
It's when anyone else gains surplus spies. So, for example, say
Gotcha.
Josh. I think Josh already has a surplus of spies. He started off with them. But let's say the Perihelians were did some sort of Beruz, like took some time and he trained a group of spies, right? And you got surplus spies. We did some rolls and you actually like got the surplus. That means Jared's faction would instantly gain 2 treaty on them because all secret agents use your techniques, right? The Last Watch are the spies in this game. And so the techniques they use are the techniques everyone uses because of their mark on the homeland and the other factions and stuff. So, and
how do you use subterfuge?
Subterfuge is basically like you're doing stealthy stuff against them. It's in the family moves, right?
Okay.
When your family infiltrates other factions, roll plus sleight. On a hit, choose one thing your agents achieve, and there's a difference. You can make a resource appear more or less desirable, cause a scandal within a family's organization, hide your own involvement in an action, frame someone else, sabotage an asset, making it fail at the worst moment. And then I think you have, smoke and mirrors. You get to choose an extra thing your agents achieve on any subterfuge hit. So you get to do 2 of those every time.
Okay. Yeah, David, let's do our deal.
Yeah, so basically what this would be is first, this is Beruz through the family, right?
Yeah.
Conducting diplomacy and trying to get a meeting probably with Cassius or someone else.
Right. So. Okay. On a hit, you get what you want, and 1 data on a 7-9, your agents get you. Okay. So, I said
so
plus
roll plus
reach, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And their reach is what stats? There it is. -1, it looks like. So that's cool. All right.
Yep. The Perihelians aren't good at diplomacy.
Turns out.
They just kind of take what they want.
Yeah, got a 4.
Oh, wow.
So
right.
It doesn't say anything about it.
Right, so it's just a GM move fail.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So he fails to get what you want, to get what he wants.
So I don't even get a meeting.
You don't get a meeting then. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
So
Because that's the thing.
I can't choose to do a meeting with him if he fails, or I don't.
I think you can,
don't-
right? I think you can, but we can basically say, if that's what you want, because that's the thing, right? We all have
Okay.
control of our own factions.
Okay.
So if you want to say, yes, I still have a meeting with him, we can have something bad happen.
Is
Right?
he disadvantaged because of the 4, or?
I was thinking what you could do is have, which narratively this would put me on an off beat, but I don't know if it would have any mechanical effect. But like, if it was, I came to have a meeting with you, and
Mhm.
you guys told me to leave, and then, like, well, I don't know. If you came to have a meeting with me, that would actually feel like the opposite, like you were desperate. So maybe not. I was thinking maybe you could come after me and have a meeting that I wasn't
Mhm.
expecting to have somewhere where I'm not
Mm-hmm.
prepared or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh,
So you want, and
know.
I don't have defenses, which is what you originally wanted from me.
Yeah, although based on the narrative of why we don't have defenses, I think that's still a problem we could fix for each other, because
Okay.
Yeah.
you don't have defenses because you're so spread out and like
Mhm.
this.
Perihelions don't have defenses because they don't have weapons, really.
Yeah,
Not
all we
that
have
much.
is big planes, which apparently is not good enough.
Mhm.
So you guys would give us
Oh boy.
actual ability to fight, and we could give you a place to defend, basically, and live. But I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking real quick to see some of the options here for the GM move,
Mhm.
and see what direction
Yeah,
this could take.
'cause I probably would have come with like a bigger entourage initially to like come talk to you, and then
Mhm.
maybe you come and find me when it's like just me and the characters that I
'Cause
automatically have on
Don't my
sheet.
people don't like you because you caused the apocalypse, right?
There
And
there
or-
there
definitely
are
some.
cells that want
Okay.
to kill me, I think, but I think we also decided there were ones that didn't care because
Yeah.
we had originally decided that this was already a thing, which doesn't have to be because we haven't
Okay.
actually used it at all. But that was the original assumption based on our plan.
Because just mostly they like hunt the eldritch things, right? It's been a few weeks. I'm sorry.
Who?
No, you're fine.
Don't we fight eldritch
Oh, the last watch.
stuff?
Yeah.
With on the sideline trying to kill whoever started the apocalypse besides us.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what makes sense here. Okay, so so Jared, you're still okay with having a meeting, yeah?
Yeah.
But I think what it will be is can you think of a downside? Because I think you mentioned before, like he's at disadvantage to whatever on. We could do that. Right?
The disadvantage is he's meeting with Cassius.
Yeah. I mean, we could literally say any roles that Bruce has to make in this scene. It would be a very long scene, but are at disadvantage because of whatever reason. He just doesn't know the Last Watch or how to deal with them, sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm fine with it being that simple.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Yeah, so we can. I think we can zoom in briefly here, and I don't think we need to like do a whole like everybody makes quick characters thing because this is just be a quick scene between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cool. So Jared, I guess you want to describe to us where he would be meeting you, what kind of environment?
I'm not familiar with the map yet.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, here, let me go back to the map real quick.
There's so many things to keep track of.
I know, yeah.
And I don't know where my things are.
Do you remember what they are?
So we can't help you with that.
I remember one of them.
Do you want to be at one of those? Is that what you're assuming?
Probably not.
That's what I was thinking, because you don't want to give away a secret thing that you guys know about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like easy one would be like in the city of Kelith, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like or Nadir.
Yeah, I don't know why Bears would be in Kelith. It makes sense for him to be in Nadir or in wherever the
So is Nadir your main city?
Technically, Azimuth is, but Nadir is right
okay.
beneath it.
Azimuth is the artificial sun,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
and Nadir is the city right below it.
Okay.
yeah. But if he was on Azimuth, he'd pretty much be unreachable. So
Gotcha. Oh, let's meet at the end. Let's meet at the endless echo that you don't know about, apparently.
actually, no. I mean, I think that makes sense. It seems like a thing he might go to and be like, all right, we got to figure out what's going on with this thing, because.
I mean, yeah, that could be like a creepy meeting place you set up, Cassius.
And I think one of my things might be vaguely around here. Maybe.
Yes, you're right. There is one thing that is
Okay.
vaguely around here. Yeah.
Judging from the open spaces.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
message
right.
you real quick, Jared, to tell you what is
Okay.
nearby that.
Also,
yeah.
as a note, apparently I think that you're a good match for my bodyguard lady. So
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
that's a thing to keep in mind.
I forgot about that.
Oh, you have a bodyguard. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A good
and
match, like physically or like sexually?
I think it means like as a relationship,
Yeah.
sexually, I guess. Yeah, no, not like you can fight them, because I got to pick which follower it was, so it didn't have to be a physical follower. I mean, that's a weird way of saying that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like that. I forgot that was one of them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think my character's opinion of you will probably also tell me my opinion of my bodyguard.
Yeah. Well, once I figure out how I'm going to play this character.
Yeah, right? I mean, I got very little idea of how Beirut acts. I only know what his face looks like, and that's what I'm going up.
Yeah.
So I have like 4 different things that I could do with this guy just based off of what our starting point is.
Yeah. So I guess let's just follow the procedure as it would happen. Let's see. So the main character is present, say what they're there to do. You guys are obviously, we already said where you are on the map. And so you're obviously there to have some sort of meeting to discuss the mutually beneficial arrangement. Yeah, so the endless echo is the next thing is GM describes the details of the environment. Or ask players questions about it. I guess, Connor, what are you imagining the endless echo looking like? Like, what kind? Because obviously it's a bunch of video screens, but like, what's the actual environment those video screens live in, right? Like, is this some sort of large media building? Is this just like an empty wasteland, which is a bunch of TV screens like littered around? Like,
I guess this is where I decide if it's supernatural or something like.
Right, or something technological.
You're right.
What was your
How are we
faction?
doing for AI?
I don't think we've had AI come up at all yet so far. I know that obviously the heralds are robots, but whether or not that means like magical construct that is just also a robot in some sense, but like
God gave a robot a soul as opposed to
I think that's probably what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's basically like constructs that are given souls, sort of a thing.
Which
Okay.
is really all that humans are, but whatever.
Right, exactly. I think that's really what it is. It's just their bodies are different, right? I think they're still sentient, souled beings like any other being.
You let your dog in real quick. Hold up.
Yeah. Baruz, how do you get here? Like, where do you just...
I have a...
Oh, yeah, your chariot
plane. I don't know if I take that here because he's a sort of diplomat type person. He's trying to figure out what this place is and whether or not it's a thing that needs to be like dealt with.
So is this you just like coming here independently, and then Cassius finds you because you had like reached out to him at one point?
Yeah. So I figured what it was was that I went and they turned me away. So I went to do my next thing, or maybe I went home and then I came to do this thing, whatever.
Sure.
And then they found me to put me off balance or whatever.
Yeah, right, of course, yeah. So basically,
Or
Jared...
maybe even because the cell that I talked to didn't want to hear it, but your cell does.
Yeah.
That's also possible.
That could be it, yeah.
Because I probably don't have a lot of information about that. I definitely wouldn't know what cell I was talking to, even if I knew that cells had different opinions, which I also might not know.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, Connor, what are you thinking for the looks of this place?
Well, I was kind of thinking that it could be a sentient robot that is obsessed with the past.
Yeah, some sort of leftover AI that's just reliving the past memories.
I like the
connected to
idea
this network.
that it was like one of the first AI before the fall, and it died because of the fall, and so now it's obsessed with how the fall happened because it's it killed it, like whatever physical, like I don't know, did something to it, because you can't really kill an AI unless you like destroy the mind, because that's all it is.
Ruined
But
it, definitely. Like
it did something.
Cut it off from its power or the stuff it was able to manipulate before.
Yeah,
probably.
Maybe what it did was, or what the fall did was, it crippled the AI's ability to absorb new information, so it only has old information to work off of.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's endlessly
that also
cycling
cripples its
through.
Ability to like learn new things and like adapt. It has to look back and try and
Yeah, that sounds cool. We down with that, Connor?
Say that one more time.
The idea was that the AI was around before the fall, but the fall killed it, and destroyed it in such a way that it now doesn't have any method of absorbing new information. So instead, it has to learn via old information, and it's obsessed with trying to figure out what happened to it, because it doesn't have any sensors or a way to learn now except for going through memory files, basically.
That's a cool idea. I'm thinking kind of the opposite of that, in terms of it had something to do with the apocalypse, and now it feels guilty.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that could be cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like constantly going back through, like it came to like a crisis moment for an AI, right? And it's like, I think I'm human. I think I exist because I feel guilty, because I feel like I did something wrong.
Yeah, I also like that because that means that there's another player in the fall, whether or not we know about it. As like the perihelion think that it's their fault, and it is because we said it was, but I think it's interesting that there's another element in play.
Well, that's
that
the
could
thing. The
be
perihelions, right? We're all part of this like utopian like society that existed before the fall,
right?
And I'm sure AI is factored into that somehow.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because it was a bunch of super technology and whatnot. So, okay, yeah. So what's the actual environment then, Connor, that this AI exists in and plays these memories back on?
I don't know. Some sort of building, I think.
Okay.
And it like is the building, not like it's a transformer is the building, but like
it's like its server center or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like an old server center. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess we see Baru's. Well, first let's. So other players may create or pick up quick characters to fill out the party. Does anyone want to play or create or pick up a quick character, or do we want to just
like for the scene?
Yeah. It's probably just it's probably just going to be I just want to make sure that we actually are going through the stuff here, because you don't have to, but all right. So then characters select here according to their family's asset and the established fiction. Does everyone want the stuff that their character would normally have? So for you, David, that's
yeah, he has everything that they start with except yeah, I think he does. I think that the vehicle is not I mean, like, that's not our only way of getting around, right? Like, we can get a car or something, or some other method of moving around, right? We don't have to have that as our only way of traveling, right?
I mean, I guess, but like, I feel like technically there'd have to be some sort of role involved or whatever, right? Like, you just can't have a piece of gear that's not on.
No, well, because my point is that, like, not in the scene, but like he would have gotten here some way besides his plane.
So you don't have access to it in the scene, but you did get here somehow. Yeah, that's fine.
Because he wouldn't have walked, but also I don't think that taking my laser chariot would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Unless I was coming here to shoot it, which is what I'm deciding now, not doing now.
Okay. So you still have the voice amplification torque, the nanoswarm physique.
Yeah.
And then what else do you get? You can add one to the quality of your
Yeah,
followers when you
doesn't
do, but you
help
don't
me
have any
any.
quality. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have any
I
followers.
have followers, but they don't have quality, so it doesn't help me any, which is dumb.
Chance for Faramir, Captain of Gondor, to show his quality. Cool. All right. And then Jerbear, you want to
Yes.
have all your stuff: sniper rifle, armor, clothes, black helicopter, and robot birds.
Sure.
You came in a helicopter? I feel like
Robot birds?
Yeah. Basically, they're like communications, like long range communication device.
No, so like the ones in the tree out front of my house.
Yes.
And
You
the
have
ones
robot
that have been
birds in your
swimming around
tree?
on the roof of our,
Yep.
or on the cover of our pool. And all the birds you see outside.
Exactly. Birds don't exist. They're all government drones.
Caleb and I may have spent too much time on the internet.
Yep. So Jared, real quick, since we're opening this up,
Mhm.
we had tossed around the idea that Cassius, because Cassius has this agent mission, right? Mark, when you take on a mission to hunt down a dangerous target,
Mhm.
the GM will say some special gear the family gives you to help. We had posited at one point that you were going to hunt down Baruz. Do we still want that to be the case? Is that why he failed?
I
Because
may
you're here
not
to
want
kill
you
him?
to date my my bodyguard in that case, but
How do you know she's not one of my spies, David? Come on.
because the rulebook doesn't say that she is. Beirut doesn't know that. I know
Because
it.
he did fail the role here, right? So that's totally, I feel, a
Yeah.
viable option. And
I know.
And keep
I
in
have
mind
so many
here, guys,
things.
yeah, keep in mind. I want to preface this. The point of this game is that nothing is sacred, right? Things are going to change. People are going to die. So Baruz getting killed in day one here is totally a viable option, right?
I mean, I literally have a backup character that I'd rather play, so
Exactly.
it's okay.
Because that would be kind of fun.
What are your surpluses, David?
I have a surplus. It's lots of really nice looking stuffed animals, and they're really soft. A leadership, which means my governance style is effective. My governance style is that we are gods and the people we govern are demigods, and they're trying to become actual gods. Is the idea. And we have rare materials, which means we have lots of the special thing that we need to be special.
I was really hoping you had
intending
prestige.
to steal or break at some point. What?
I was really hoping you had prestige.
Well, so that's the thing. You
did
don't
not have
to,
that as an option.
You don't actually have to like steal resources like that. A lot of times that wouldn't even make sense in the fiction. So basically, Jared, whenever you get a surplus or get a need or whatever, this is just going to happen through what makes sense in the fiction. For it happening, right? So
when he says get a surplus, that is what we do in the scenes, right? So if your character's like, I want a surplus in this, that's when we do the scenes, and whether or not that goes well for you is how you get that surplus. And I mean, I'm sure that's also moves at the faction level too. Can do that as well. But that's like sort of the driving mechanism for the scenes is the factions want to get rid of their needs and get surpluses, which causes scenes, which your characters are in. And that pushes on to the next need or surplus or whatever. So so just because nobody has prestige to steal doesn't mean you can't get it.
Yeah, because I could definitely see.
I'm pretty sure killing you would get me some prestige.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, I could certainly see a universe in which you convince the Last Watch to like go on the offensive against the Perihelions and like come out once more as the protectors of the world, right? Not the failed guardians, but actually the people who are saving people from the tyrannical overlords who are trying to take over everything again, right? That could be a direction here.
Okay.
We don't want to take over everything. We have everything we want already.
Yeah.
That's not true, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We have it. It's just falling apart. That's the problem.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Let's see how the meeting goes.
Okay, yeah, sure. Maybe Cassius hasn't decided yet.
What is it? Stop worrying about the waves who have decided to kill you and worry more about me who's still mulling it over.
Yeah. Wait, what is that from?
The Avatar.
Right.
Zula talking to her captain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man, that was such a good scene.
It was, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we see Baruz like walking through this server space, right? There's all these screens and they're replaying scenes from the fall, right? So we see a beautiful utopian city that sort of looks reminiscent of Kelith, but like it's obviously way different because it's it's been destroyed since then. And we see a giant dust storm gathering in the distance, like waving its way towards Kelith, and just engulfing it in its entirety. And then all of the screens change the scene, and it's a group of people being slaughtered by these like weird squid demon things, as they come up out of these rifts in the ground. And there's a bunch of like families that are just being like devoured wholesale as these like horrible monsters are attacking everybody. And it just keeps flickering from these horrific scenes of the world ending as you're walking through. What does Baruz look like, and how is he like reacting to everything that's going on?
So Beiruz, his looks, he's masculine. He has a rough face. He's got scars, and one of his eyes is like damaged slightly. Both of his eyes are golden, not the whole eye, just his the color of his eyes gold.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a slight body, and he is wearing a like a basically a robe, but there are sections that are essentially like I guess cut out. It's not really how it would work, but it's essentially got a long flowing elegant shape to it, but it looks like it's made out of solid white light, and it's real subtle. And he also has a like golden, I'm gonna look up the picture because I can't really quite remember how to describe this, but he's on the Pinterest board, the like sort of jewelry I want him to have. Let's see.
Yeah, because I think I pinned a character from that board that
You
I
did.
thought.
It was the one that I was imagining.
That's what I figured. Yeah, I think I guessed correctly. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
It's like a almost like a metal halo.
Yeah.
That is mounted on the back of his head and then comes forward to rest over his ears to stay in place. And that is, well, I mean, I guess I won't explain it because people probably wouldn't know how it worked. So, yeah, and he is, and honestly, he's just watching the screens and looking around and like trying to assess whether or not this situation is going to be an issue for the perihelion. So he's looking to see how many people are actually looking at this, if any, and their reaction, and what specifically is on the screens, whether or not the information is harmful. So he's just basically sitting back in his really, really super conspicuous look, and assessing things. And also next to him is standing a like a sturdy woman with short like white hair, and she's got the same like white looking clothing, except it is shaped more like actual armor. Not that it actually does anything, but it's shaped like armor. And she probably has a gun, because I don't think she's the same thing. So I think she's a little more toned down. She's probably wearing actual like sort of mid-tier combat gear or whatever that's accented with the white stuff, because she's probably not a proper perihelion. She's probably one of the people from Nidir, since she's just working for him. And then there's also a slight guy with like longer blonde hair who is got sort of a similar robe looking outfit to what Beiruz has.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And what do you have? You have a bodyguard and a what?
A bodyguard and a tailor. Or, I'm sorry, a courtier named Taylor. that threw me for a loop. I was like, a tailor. Sorry, Taylor. I don't have my contacts in. I can't read it. Apparently.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And so you guys are just like kind of watching the screens, right? And then Cassius, how do you like show up?
So how's the building laid out again?
It's like a server room, basically.
Okay. and just appear from the shadows.
So are there a lot of people around watching these screens, or is it pretty clear?
No, I think there's no one here right now. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
I think most people consider this place haunted and don't come here.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's
It's
useful information.
probably reasonable to assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cassius, how do you appear then?
Yeah, I
as
just
I
saw
say, yeah.
Batman appear from the shadows behind a server.
Right. So what does Cassius look like?
Hey Caleb, where's my character sheet?
Here you go.
Okay, there we go.
I did also send you a pin
Mhm.
that I thought might, when I was looking at your description there, that I thought might
Yeah.
work
Where did you send that?
on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Oh, just now. Okay. Except with a duster, with a black dust. Wait, is that what the long coats
The
are
long
called?
coat? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A duster is the kind of long coat that cowboys would wear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, he's typical soldier guy. Good in shape. He's not just looks like a normal guy. Black hair. What kind of eyes did I choose?
Cunning eyes.
Cunning eyes. He's got a hard body. Ladies.
Oh man.
Yeah, just rugged soldier wearing, typical, you'd assume well maintained but obviously worn combat armor. He with a sniper draped across his back, and a non-regulation duster.
Right. Yeah. And you also have a scarred face. It says there as
Yep.
well. Yeah.
You see a robot bird perched in the corner of the room, just staring at you.
Yeah. Yeah. So you Batman, do you just say anything or just stare at him for a while?
I stare at him.
I mean, I probably
look at
don't
his.
see you if you do that.
I want to see his reaction to all the whatever the playback.
Oh, hey, Jared, that's exactly, you're making a move there. You're making your red and tooth and claw move.
Oh.
That sounds pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
When you take a few moments to size up your target, roll
yeah.
plus force.
Nice.
And it's like a hold thing, so you have currency, so you don't have to basically it's if a battle starts between you and him, then you'll get to spend hold to do things to him.
I don't have any idea how the combat in this game works at all.
It's pretty similar to Apocalypse World.
I kind of figured, yeah.
We did one last time, so.
Okay, that's good.
Oh yeah, and you can't see me anyway if I don't want you to. That's the other move I have.
Right, yeah. When you shadow in the wind, when you sneak through cover, nothing they
figured.
hadn't already spotted you will notice you. If you would be revealed, the GM will warn you in time to hide. Even when you attack, there'll be a period of confusion for you to exploit. Wow, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
So I roll two.
You roll
2d6?
2d6 plus 1 for you, yeah, because you have your force.
Is there a handout for combat moves?
So it's 2d6 plus 1. Is there a
it's in the character
space
moves.
between the 6 and the plus, or is it all just one line?
It should. It's this.
Oh.
Except without the period.
Okay. I'll take it.
Yep, there you go. On a 10 plus, hold 3. So you have 3 hold.
Nice.
Basically, it's like a currency that you can spend. Once a battle has begun, you can spend 1 hold at any time to slice away their weaponry, giving them -1 harm. Separate, giving them -1 harm. I don't know what that means.
That means
don't
they
have
do
harm.
-1 harm to me, right?
Oh yeah, that probably
But
is what that means.
The weapons don't have
that-
harm
That's true.
anyways, do
Um,
they?
Let's just ignore that one for now. Separate your target from any of their allies. Carve something valuable from your target, or ask the GM what would need to happen to allow you or your allies to fiercely assault them. Lose all hold if you or your quarry flee the fight. So yeah, that you just size them up. You size Beruz up, and you can use any of these things if you actually get into a fight with him. So.
All right. I forgot I had this. Thank you, Caleb.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just watching how you react to the playback of the apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's looking around to see that no one is there, which is good because that means that even if this information is harmful, it's not being like disseminated rapidly. But that doesn't mean that the information being played isn't still harmful and might need to be like dealt with. So what do I see on the screen as far as like, I guess, like obviously you described people
yeah,
dying
there's a
and
move.
stuff.
There's a move here.
Okay.
It is character moves. You're gonna roll unearth forgotten lore. When you uncover a landmark or custom from the past, roll plus lore, and this is like the stuff you know about it, basically. Because basically, yeah, you show up.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, you show up right to this landmark, and this is you like what do you know already about this thing, and then we can go from there if you want to use any more information.
I think my lore is 1. Yeah, lore 1. Okay. 10.
Cool. On a 10 plus, you can ask 3 of those questions in the list there, and you gain 1 data. So I'll go ahead and put it in on your family sheet.
Oh, okay.
You have 1 data.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You have 2 data now.
Oh.
Keep in mind that you can use data as a character to
That's right.
get advantage on a roll. But wait
Okay.
a second, we forgot. Okay, so wait, do we want the thing to be he has disadvantage on everything during this meeting? Or...
I mean, I assume it will be related to the meeting, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense for me
true.
to be disadvantaged
Anything
for
yeah.
this random
Of
thing.
course.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we were being consistent there.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I don't really know if I don't care if it's a wonder or a horror because I feel like that's irrelevant. I guess where is it drawing power from?
Yeah, and I think you've been studying this, and you know that it's been drawing power from a mind, right? Like obviously Burridge doesn't know all the details of the AI and stuff, but you can tell that there is some sort of mind because you see it like play back certain things and pause on certain, and you zoom in on certain spots. Like you can tell that there's something going on here, and it's probably not just from you can just have a hunch from the way that it's looking. It's not like a repeat, right? It's not just playing this mindlessly. Someone is like parsing through information here.
Okay. And then, I mean, he wants to know whether or not this information is actually incriminating at all for the perihelions. So I guess what dangers is it hiding in that sense? Or if you have another idea for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly an option. There's certainly a possibility here. I think there would definitely be a danger for the perihelions if I think you know that most people consider it a haunted place, and people don't usually go here, and bad things have happened sometimes to people who do go here, so there is some sort of weird thing happening here. And so it's possible that time can go by and no one would ever discover anything about the perihelions by being here, but it is certainly a possibility, right? Because you're seeing stuff that like could be incriminating, but I think beyond that you also can sense that, I mean, this mind, it's focused on this right now, but you have the feeling that this is some sort of super technology thing from the past, right? You recognize perihelion technology when you see it, right?
Right.
And a lot of this, like the server room itself, just kind of looks like that.
Okay.
Because it was all part of the utopian super technology society, right? And you can sense that if this was ever to not be focused on like inwardly and somehow find a way, or just have its attention be drawn outward, it could be a dangerous opponent.
Okay. Well, then, last question: how can I turn it to my advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious, like, in canon answer would be to help it. Okay, the answer for you, and this is the vague version of the answer, but we all know the actual specifics of this. It's help it find what it's looking for.
Okay.
Right? If you could contact the mind and help it accomplish whatever its goal would be, you'd probably be thankful.
Right. But if it did that, it would. Your people. I was gonna say, if it learned it, it would know that we caused it. So I feel like that could also be bad. Okay.
But yeah, like aiding it in its struggle would be probably the way to get it on your side.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So I mean, I think after a little bit, he stops looking at the screens entirely and starts like sort of spacing off and thinking. Let me see.
And what's the name of your bodyguard?
Nissa.
Okay.
Nissa.
Yeah, I think Nissa at one point like just shuffles uncomfortably, and she's been like staring at Cassius the entire time, right? And eventually she says, like, she's looking at you, like, and then she's like, "Sir,
One moment. Yes. What is it?
there's someone here to see you."
I don't see anyone. I can't see him, right? Unless he wants me to.
I assume that you stepped out from the shadows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just need
Okay.
to size you up and get my bonuses quick.
Oh, okay.
So
I see. Yeah.
I do know that you're there then. Okay.
Yeah. Let's say this all happens kind of simultaneously. Like she notices first, and then like is like, "Sir," and then you look, and he's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I guess I turn to Talon, which is right. Is that his name? Sorry, I'm gonna forget my own character's name for a minute here. Yeah, Taller. And I say, yeah, I look at him. I say, "Someone's here to see you, Taller. Do your job." And then I just keep like contemplating and checking up at the monitors, because he's a courtier, so basically he's a politician like / diplomat with me.
Right. Sorry, what did you say to him then?
I told him that someone is here to see him, and that he should do his job.
So yeah, I guess what did you say he was wearing particularly?
He has a similar kind of long, solid light robe.
Oh,
Yeah,
so there are 3 of you there?
Yeah.
Okay, this makes a lot more sense now. I thought you were playing your god guy.
Okay. No, I'm not playing Iskander. I'm playing Beiruz, although they're technically both kind of immortal god people, but whatever.
In some way.
He's much less immortal.
Beiruz is the demigod, and Iskander is the actual god.
Are they immortal to explosive sniper bullets?
No.
All characters are immortal to Okay. even Iskander is technically immortal.
In terms of super technological immortality, like agelessness sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah, invincible.
Taller, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he fiddles with his light robe, even though it doesn't really do anything, right? Like it's like he wants to like fiddle with something.
Right.
And I think Beiruz, that he used to actually be from the culture of like the Recollection, and so like he's not used to the light clothing yet, and so he's like, I need something to grasp onto.
That makes sense, because the Recollection was the first place that Beiruz like infiltrated, so I probably hired him on that assignment.
That makes sense. Yeah. Cool. So he tries to fiddle with something, and then he looks at you and he says, who are you exactly? I think, gathering from your accoutrement, I imagine that you would be from the Last Watch.
That would be correct. And then I do like an exaggerated like curtsy of whatever is whatever
like the military like salute or whatever, like
no whatever the Helian, you're the
perihelion.
Yeah, whatever, like the perihelion.
So an exaggerated greeting of okay. What is that, David?
Oh man, I don't know. Every time I think of any kind of greeting gesture, it always seems like the dumbest, cheesiest thing.
I mean, we literally put our hands up, split our fingers, and move it back and forth slightly.
Yeah.
And that's our greeting. That's default human greeting in America anyway.
Right.
We also grab someone's hand and then move it around randomly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's mostly in an up and down motion, because any other movement is weird. What's with that? It's bizarre. There's no sense to any of it, so whatever you make up makes as much sense in their world as handshaking or hand waving does in ours.
And if you're one of the cool kids,
the only way I can stay sane coming up with stuff like this.
Yeah. What, does it have something to do with the sun?
I mean, that's what I thought, but I can't think of anything.
What if it's literally like shading your eyes from the sun, right? Like
Well, that
Some
was
sort
my
of
thought,
rope.
but that seems opposite of what makes sense, right? Like, I feel like they should be like,
Oh, that's
sun,
fair.
burn my
You
eyes.
pull out a piece of
So-
tinfoil and reflect the sun into your eyes real quick.
David's praise the sun from Dark Souls.
Was gonna say.
I mean,
I
I
know the
love
meme,
that,
not the
but it's
game.
also horrible. Oh man, I don't know. Yeah, sure, why not?
So
I
what is
don't.
that exactly?
That's the like praise the sun emote from Dark Souls, except probably less exaggerated, right?
Well, that's the
It
thing.
probably-
Jared
probably-
probably does it exactly.
It's probably with one hand, right? Like that. I think that's more natural than both because you need a lot of room to do this. So
Yeah, so like this. Kind of side hand, yeah. Up.
yeah.
So basically, my natural reaction whenever something goes wrong.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, yeah, so you do that exaggerated motion, and Tyler says, yes, to you as well. What can we do for you?
Well, I assume we're here to strike a deal of some sort.
Oh, so you are answering our summons then. I'm sorry, not summons. You are getting back to us on our proposition.
Yep. I am a Cassius Hostilius Vespasianus.
Vespasianus.
Vespasianus. At your service.
That is a mouthful. Yes.
Some of my favorite moments in RPG is when Jared can't pronounce his own character's name.
It's happened so many times.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, so he says, it's good to meet you. Have you considered then our proposition? Are you willing to take, well, we can give you funding. If you needed materials, resources, if you simply provide us with men, weapons, safety, defense. And so I think you could get the sense, Cassius, that like this guy's just a lackey, right? Baruz is the guy who's actually in charge here. And if you want to have like an actual conversation like with the person who's actually going to be able to like negotiate this, you're going to want to talk to Baruz. Like this guy's like semi-nervous and yeah.
Okay. So wait, David's Barouge,
Yeah, Baruz, yeah.
and he's the god guy.
He is the
Okay.
Sure.
And you're the lackey courtesan.
I'm his lackey courtesan right now.
Okay. You
Courtier.
didn't even
There's a
bother
difference
correcting
between
me.
courtier and courtesan.
Oh.
Yes, courtier.
Thank
Not
you.
courtesan.
That means
would be a
it's
completely...
prostitute.
Yes.
Just went right over your head.
It did, yeah. It means fancy prostitute, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he has any of those, but this guy, not one of them. Yeah.
Would I
Nissa
know
the
your
whole
name
time.
or?
Oh, yeah. Probably, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And it's Barouge.
Beiruz.
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 I mean, you can say it however you want because I
Barouge.
feel like your character
Bruges.
mispronouncing it. As
Obviously.
He can't even pronounce his own name. So.
That's fair.
I put it in Roll20 chat how it's spelled, so
Okay.
it's probably Beiruz.
Although I don't know if it's spelling, it'll help you very much.
Bear ooze.
So yeah, Beiruz, yeah. So Nissa, his bodyguard, Jared, is
Mhm.
holding her gun, finger on the trigger, sort of like tense, looking at you.
Is it leveled at me or is it like off
No,
to the side?
just off to the side, yeah.
Okay.
But her finger's obviously like on the trigger.
Do I notice that as well? That she seems tense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think I turn back, or I like still looking at the monitor, sort of tilt my head towards her and say, if he was going to kill us, we'd all be dead. Don't bother. And I wave my hand at her gun.
Yeah, I think she finally sort of relaxes. But it's definitely sizing you up, Cassius.
Does she like what she sees?
I think there's a hesitant, like... I mean, I don't know if Cassius is necessarily as really observant. I don't know. That's up to you, actually, Cassius. Is Cassius observant about those sorts of things?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
He's a spy. Of course, he's got to be.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you can tell that it's like she has like a professional respect for you and a tense kind of like. Okay, so there's like a tension between the two of you right now that is both like professional, like apprehension and a kind of semi-sexual, like attractive tension sort of going on, right?
I think it's
just
funnier.
a primal urge.
I think it's funnier if she is at least somewhat opposed to this, because I'm not, and so then it would ends up being me convincing her to.
She's a tsundere.
I mean, I think right now she. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's up to Caleb because she's just an NPC. But I just thought that would be funny.
I mean, of course she's a tsundere because all of the characters I ever play are tsunderes.
That's fair.
I was trying to come up with a way to make that joke. And was wondering how you would react to it, and then you go and steal it from me.
I set you up with that layout.
I already said this when I made the main character for the Hellbreakers.
Oh, you said it, not. I thought it was a David saying.
No. Caleb is as self-aware as I am with my characters.
Yeah, I ignore Courtier guy, and I look up to the monitors, and I walk like sort of diagonally from him, not like fully approaching him because that'd probably get me shot.
Yeah.
And I look up to the monitor that bear-sized ooze is looking at.
Yeah, so I think you're seeing a crazy storm that is like lightning ripping through like some sort of exposed settlement in a once beautiful world.
And I say it's quite amazing how much damage just one group can do to this world. And I'm addressing Beiruz.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think he nods. And he pauses, and I think he doesn't say anything else about that. I think he just turns to you and says, "Last week I spoke to a man named Darius, and he turned aside any question of diplomacy between us. I'm curious why you're here."
In this apocalyptic world, there's so much fighting and killing that needs to be done. And I'm sick of killing other humans. I just want to focus all of our efforts against the squid people.
They're called the Tannerin.
The Tannerin.
Do we know that?
I don't know. Did the Perihelions know about the Tannerin? I guess some of them would have to.
I mean, Beiruz does because he's implanted in.
Or you're at least about to be implanted, yeah.
Oh, I suppose it might not be at this point. Yeah, that's true. It's
yeah, I think you would know the term Tannerin. Yep.
Okay.
Because remember, there are infiltrated New Harmony people in the Perihelions.
That's true. Though I don't know how open they would be about that. But yeah.
Truth be told, the majority of my group wants you dead.
Well, I'm glad to see that you are not part of the majority. At least, I presume you're not.
Well, that depends how this meeting goes. And then I chuckle like I was joking, but maybe not actually joking.
Yeah, and Nissa obviously like finger back on the trigger, like kind of hefts her gun just a little bit, slightly more angled at you.
Yeah, he just chuckles and says, "That is usually the case. So tell me, what is it that you came to offer? And I don't suppose you can offer me an explanation as to why you are here and not." Oh, you just did that. You're insinuating Darius was one of those people. Never mind. Yeah. Okay, then yeah, he just says, "Ask what you have to offer."
Well, there's the obvious, you need manpower, you need guns, you need people who know how to use those guns. You seem to be sorely lacking.
More importantly, we need people who know how to be discreet. If anyone else understands that we need guns, then we will have a larger problem on our hands.
Well, considering the number of spies we have within your court, I'd say we're pretty discreet. And you,
Yeah, there's probably a slightly irritated look on his face, but he says, yes, well, you do have a reputation for that. Now,
and then I look pointedly at your courtier like I'm slightly accusing him.
Do you guys have, remind me, what do you have for your needs? You don't have reputation as a need, do you?
Prestige, morale, and defenses.
Oh, you do have prestige as
Yep.
a need. So that means that people see them badly, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think, yeah, him saying that you have a reputation for that might have been also a little bit of a jab, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. The only reputation you guys have is a bad
yeah,
one. Yeah.
there's maybe a little sarcasm in it. But yeah. Sorry.
How long after, like, how long has it been since like the main apocalypse has happened?
That's a good question. I don't think we ever decided that. I don't know. What do you guys think makes sense for the timeline we've kind of?
I feel like there's enough stuff to establish that it would have to be a while, right?
Maybe like 100 years.
I think that makes sense.
It feels like it's more than a single generation, but not so distant that all memory of it is lost, and we're
Yeah.
still definitely feeling effects.
I
So
think 100 years makes sense. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
honestly push it to 150 to 200, just so that
I mean-
there's zero people.
Yeah, that's the real question. Does anybody
Right.
remember it?
Because I don't know,
Well, that's
do
the
we
thing.
want
Do.
anyone?
The heralds obviously do, right?
Well,
I don't
right,
think it
but
matters as much. Like the
does any
heralds obviously
human remember
do. A lot of the Tannerin obviously do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The Perihelions probably do. There's some of
Oh,
them
yeah.
among them that obviously do.
For sure. I think Iskander was like there, but
Yeah.
I like, I guess, I mean, what I mean is like a normal human generation. Do we want people to be alive that remember it in that sense? Because that will tell us how long, because 100 is pushing that. And well, in this world, it's probably nobody even at 100. But if we
Right.
do over that, then
Let's say
it's
150
definitely
then
that.
to. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't want normal people who remember.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, cool. 'Cause yeah, Josh, I think that makes sense. That
Yep.
we want- Okay.
Yeah, so 150 years.
Yeah.
Because okay. So where did we leave off?
I said you do have a reputation for that, referencing you being discreet, and you were talking about the things you have to offer. I don't know if you had anything else to say on that or not. But
The way I and the majority of us see it is, whether going to war with you or joining you, we both have just as much to gain either way. Going to war with you, we gain the prestige we need, being the heroes in the eyes of the people, freeing the slaves, yada yada.
if you win the war, then
Yeah.
yes, that is true.
Yeah, and I think Taller steps in and he says, I think you underestimate the Perihelions' technology. The Last Watch may have weapons, but you would find actually destroying in any meaningful way the Perihelions a difficult task indeed. Have you noticed the fact that they literally have a flying fortress that is the sun itself?
And oh wait, are there any windows in here, Connor?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Kev, I need you to bring up the map quickly.
Okay. Whoop. There we go.
Okay. See that little mountain right there? I shoot the tip off of it with my explodey bullet.
Right. So you look out the window, open it up. I mean, the window's probably destroyed at this point. It's just an empty hole. And then you take aim and fire off some sort of like explosive shell at a nearby peak, and blast part of it off. Like there's a little bit of a rock slide that happens.
Is there a move for that?
Because
Because I mean, obviously the purpose here isn't to hit the mountain; it's to scare the guy, right?
Yeah, it's to scare the guy. Let's look.
maybe diffuse, de-escalating. I feel like this is making it more tense, not less tense.
Right.
Well, intimidation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're trying to put him in his place, which I guess would diffuse it if it worked, right? Maybe.
Although we're not really diffuse. I don't know.
I'm not sure there needs to be a move here.
Okay,
I think
I
that
was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know that his reaction matters too much because I think Beirut says, if you two are done measuring, I'd like to finish this conversation.
You see
says that to both of
Nissa pointedly look away from her examination of Cassius
Oh,
when you
boy.
say that, and
And I also have a helicopter parked out back. That's standard issue. So
yeah. I mean, are you saying that in character or?
sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he just looks at you like
Talos
not done
starts to just
measuring.
like
I see.
fluster a little bit. It's like, well, you know, but doesn't really get much coherent out.
But we also have just as much to gain joining you. We have a base of operations. We'll have if I can convince the others, which if you meet the demands, the arrangements we have, I'm sure I'll be able to convince them. We'll have we'll be able to keep you safe. We'll have a base of operations. We'll be able to more effectively eradicate the Eldritch. Tannerins.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's proper nomenclature.
Yeah. He says, I'm sure we could arrange proper facilities in Nadir for your group. Pardon me. What was it? Oh yeah, he said, unfortunately, I'm afraid we can't offer you notoriety. As I said, we need to be discreet.
That's fine.
But yes, we can offer you that, and with Azimuth overhead, it's not likely anybody will question you if we tell them not to.
I mean, is that like the role right there, like the sway role? Does this conversation need to play out a little bit longer?
Oh, there's the main arrangement that I want,
Mm-hmm.
that Cassius as an individual would like.
Sure. Oh, have you said that yet?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry. So yeah, he's saying that like, sure, those things are fine. Like he thinks that that's what you're talking about. So.
Mm-hmm. We both know. Let's not beat around the bush. We both know who's mainly responsible for this predicament humanity is in. I pointedly look up at the screen. And there are a lot of people within my group who don't take kindly to that. But if you could give them a show of maybe that you're different than your ancestors, that maybe we could come to a peaceful cohabitation.
What do you think?
Asking,
oh yeah, go ahead.
What I'm asking for is you to what's your people called, Caleb?
The Hellbreakers.
Is that what they're actually like in world called?
Yeah, in world called. Yep.
Oh, okay. I want you to end the slavery of the Hellbreakers.
Now, I'm obviously the Hellbreakers aren't slaves.
The Hellbreaker, yeah,
name.
that's actually true. The Hellbreakers are like like a faction that lives among the people that are under the enslavement.
Now, I mean, functionally, they're probably slaves, but what do we call them instead of that?
Right, the actual
is my question.
people that you're talking about?
No, I mean, like, what do we call them? Indentured servant? I mean, we don't call them slaves because that would be bad. What do we call them? What is my argument to this? Calling him calling them slaves?
The indentured labor force, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm sure that Azimuth has, or the Vicarians have a justification for why they feel that the Hellbreakers are indentured to them. What do you think that might be? Like, what is it that we feel they owe us to be indentured? Because that's sort of what that is, right?
I think
we don't pay you because you're working because you owe us, right?
So what happened? Let me pull this up really quick. I wrote up a little blurb for the Hellbreakers and their relationship to the Perihelions.
Okay, cool.
Let me find this, and I'll probably just read it off. So the Hellbreakers, the masses that once served the perihelions during their rise to power, among those the descendants of those who would become the Hellbreakers, were exiled en masse when their deathless overlords left for the utopia of Azimuth. As the world was transformed into a wasteland through reckless terraforming, the once slaves, now exiles, looked on in horror, abandoned and helpless. That is, until a man named Jadin gathered the people and helped them use the equipment that had once been the mark of their bondage to rescue them from the devastation of the shadowing. He led an elite group known as the Hellbreakers to push back the tide of inevitable destruction. Years later, the perihelions returned to the surface, their automation having failed them and having forgotten much of the scientific knowledge they once possessed. They looked towards the Hellbreakers and the former slaves they protected to once again bring them the labor they required. Some resisted, but many others, weary of the fight for survival that had become their lives, readily accepted slavery once more, if only for the guarantee of food and shelter it offered. The Hellbreakers, still guided by the words of their prophet leader Jadin, look on helplessly as the masses that they had sworn to protect fall under the thrall of their deathless overlords once more. They waited, planning to one day break the people free from slavery once and for all. So in a lot of ways, it was willing. It was like, we are literally dying from the apocalypse.
Yeah.
We can't survive. Please give us food, and we will be your slaves. In a lot of cases, but then the the perihelions probably had some other groups of people that were a part of these Hellbreakers, the society, kind of be indentured into. But it was supposed to be like a kind of mass people. All right, we're all bringing you under your wing, and everybody's gonna work now, and we're gonna give you food, sort of a thing.
Yeah. So he says. Yeah, it says the Hellbreakers, as you put it, are not slaves. They are indentured servants. Now, we could, of course, free them from their responsibilities, but in exchange, they would not have access to the protection and sustenance that we provide them, which is the whole reason that they became our servants in the first place. So while I see the misguided benevolence in your request, I'm afraid you'll do the Hellbreakers more harm than freeing them, as you put it.
Well, why they could join our little organization and help defend your beloved Azimuth.
Well, if anything were to threaten us, I imagine that we would be able to call upon them already, and I am not sure that your organization will be able to feed an entire people quite as readily as ours.
But would our agreement not include payment as such? And,
I suppose if you would like to spend the entirety of your earnings feeding an entire population, that is your decision, of course. Unfortunately, I don't know that promise is... We'll have to agree to that before we let our people starve under that assumption. It may not turn out to be as effective as you think. There are quite a lot of them.
I was under the assumption that these people were slaves. This is out of character.
I mean, they basically are, right?
Like they are. Okay.
Yeah, this is him justifying it.
This is the perihelions justifying their.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he's saying is true, but also it's like serfs, where you work in slave labor for me in case anybody ever comes up and tries to bully you, and then I'll do something about it. That's not a very good trade.
Yeah. Exactly.
So out of character, you're probably right to say all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think it probably would be a situation of having to find another source of resources for them.
Yeah. Or at the very least convincing them that they could survive on their own, sort of a thing.
Yeah, that's also that could be possible.
Yeah, so what's the plan?
I think he says, of course, as the I don't know, catalyst of this arrangement, I'm sure that we could that we could facilitate some personal benefits from this deal for you. I imagine that while we only accommodate your spies on Azimuth, perhaps we could make an exception, and you could join us as personal security, or something along those lines, above all of this dust and blood. There's far less
Interesting.
killing in Azimuth. You did say you were tired of it.
Well, tired of killing people, yes, but I'll stomp me a squid any day.
I love.
He chuckles and
I
he
honestly
says,
love the fact that the last watch, the slang term for the Tannerin is squid. That's kind
yeah.
of fun.
I mean, of course they would have something like that,
yeah,
right?
of
Like,
course.
Mhm.
that's, yeah. He says, we do not have Tannerin in Azimuth that I know of, but we
Yeah.
do have other things that could use
Hmm.
expunging.
Such as?
Well, we don't understand them very well, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
afraid I can't
literally,
say
like
much more than
Azimuth
that.
is filled with a bunch of like technological and probably magical weird things that they haven't like explored or.
There is also what is it?
Yeah, so he could literally offer you a job working in Azimuth to try to like defeat any weird, terrible monstrosities that may be lurking in the hallways. sort of
There's a
thing.
genius loci guarding a key location, and I think I know what the key location is, and I'm pretty sure it's a giant pain that it's there, because I think that's the genius loci is defending the location that gives us the rare material surplus we have.
Mhm.
So we basically have to work around him every time we want to get anywhere with these rare materials. So if you could go shoot him in the face or something, then I mean, obviously, like the perihelions can fight and do, speak fire and stuff,
Mhm.
but we're not monster hunters, so
Yeah, I
we're
mean,
not
is
as
that
good at
is
it
that
as
a
you
good
are.
good enough place, Jared, for him to make the roll here to try to convince you that that's a good deal for you to take?
Mhm.
So not anything for the people,
Mhm.
but you get a nice cushy job and all
Yeah.
of the jobs that for your people that are the concessions for your people.
Although, is Azimuth big enough to accommodate the entirety of the last watch?
Well, no. So I figured that Nadir, the
Okay.
city underneath, so Azimuth is only for
Mhm.
those perihelions who have like ascended, quote unquote,
Okay.
right now. And so I don't know, maybe you don't have spies on Azimuth. They would have, but you could have spies in Nadir. I mean, there probably is a spy on Azimuth, but he would have to be pretty good, which you are, because you'd have to basically convince the people on Azimuth that he was one of them and good enough to be like ascended. But I mean, that's what your guys do, so that's believable. Nadir is a city for all of the perihelions who are trying to become quote unquote ascended. And they're all of the perihelions are direct descendants of people on Azimuth. But then there are also just a bunch of other people in Nadir. So the idea was you would have a base in the area with our people where you would be protected more because it's a nicer part of the city.
But you personally would get a cushy job
Yes,
in the
you would get to
magical
come
to
construct in the
Azimuth.
sky.
Cassius personally.
Cassius.
Yes. He was saying you could get a cushy job because the best way to get people to agree to things that aren't really that great for everyone else is to make it really good for them. So
Yeah. Yeah, is this roll time?
Cassius's biggest thing is trying to get the serfs of Azimuth or whatever, the Hellbreakers. Like,
well, depending on how savvy
better
he is,
treatment.
it's possible. I mean, like you would be essentially
And/or-
the only non-perihelion person, as far as we know, on Azimuth, which is the place that you could have the most influence
exactly.
over something like that.
Yep.
So if he's willing to go for a long game kind of thing, then that is something that might be possible.
Which honestly was probably the only thing that would make sense if you're coming at it through the perihelions is to play the long game. Otherwise, you're just gonna get laughed at if it's like, yeah, free, let my people go.
That's true. They are immortal, so the long game is sort of their thing. That's true.
So, but the Hellbreakers are on Azimuth. It's like indentured servants.
No,
or
the
are they in
Hellbreakers
Nadir?
live mostly in Keleth and Nadir, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They do live in Nadir also, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
They live all along the route that is on the map here. Anywhere there's like that route, that's like where Azimuth, the people, the perihelions, and the Hellbreakers have people and influence and kind of all of those places in some way.
That includes up here too, right? This part of the route.
Yep. Though
Okay.
this is definitely like a much more dangerous place.
Yeah,
It's
it looks
it's
like
a war zone. But
Yeah. Okay.
Is protecting Keleth part of the deal?
I mean, technically, that is one of the functions of the Perihelions as their like overseers. Whether or not they're good at it or
Mhm.
do it is
they're
another
probably
question.
not good at it because they don't have that much
They-
manpower. So.
I mean, they say they do, but well, and the other thing is that I think what it looks like when the Perihelions assist a civilian population in defense, they strafe the enemy with lasers from their chariots, and I don't know that that's the most precise method of doing that. Let me check. The Great Chariot is an air, swift, turret, and precious. What does turret do as a tag? I'm just curious how it describes a turret.
Let me look.
Because if it's like a bombing run, then
A ranged weapon mounted on the vehicle gains the area tag and can be controlled by the pilot.
yeah, so it has area. So basically, yeah, like if a gang rolled into town, we would bomb the gang, and also anyone who was dumb enough to be standing next to the gang, probably.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I'm sure that we have a loudspeaker and be like, clear the area, bam. Right. But so, yeah, because I think the Perihelions have to believe that they're doing what they say they're doing. It
Yeah.
just doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing well
Yeah.
in a nice way.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, they do defend and supply the the Hellbreakers, but probably
The
not
War
any more than
Breakers.
they have to. Yeah, the Warbreakers. Not any more than they have to, like, as a minimum.
Okay.
Because
So this is a character now.
Okay.
So as part of our deal, we'll have a substantial standing force in Nadir to protect it, but we will also still be conducting our eldritch excursions.
Of course. Also, as a note, I do imagine you have some method of ensuring those of your organization who are not fond of us do not find their way into our city, correct? I would not appreciate having assassins within a rank of our guards and defenders.
Well, I considering I will be the only one allowed up in Azimuth.
We do have Perihelion in Nadir.
Because it is fairly easy to break in Nadir for people of our caliber.
Yeah,
so,
basically he's like, buddy,
I mean,
if
if you're not dead at this
they would have already been.
Right. Well, that's different than giving them like the fortified station in the middle of our nice part of town, and
That's
then
fair.
finding out that they want to shoot him.
That is fair.
Yeah. So yeah, he says, yes, I understand, but you must sympathize that we do not want to arm people who will attack us. Or sorry, not arm. Facilitate that any more than perhaps we already do.
I definitely understand that, and to help facilitate relations, and this will also be beneficial for both of us. I think it would be we'll of course keep our people, our highly trained people and forces and such in Nadir, but I think it would be beneficial to both of us to for you to have maybe any access what our Hellbreakers you have. We'll train them up and then they can defend Keleth. Then you'll have a standing force in Keleth to help defend it. And that'll give my officers something to not only occupy them, but also a show of good faith.
That is a great long game there. You're gonna arm their slave population and then
that I think you should roll for specifically, because while it looks bad for him to say no, it would be stupid for him to say yes. So I'm curious which way he would go. So if you don't mind, on that point,
what am I rolling?
So go to character moves.
Find common ground, I think, right?
Yeah, when you ask someone to work with you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I do not have a good sway, but I'm pretty sure it's -1.
I thought you were a spy. Shouldn't you be good at like?
Yeah, he's more of
he's sneaky.
More of an assassin than a
spy.
or more of a saboteur, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we go to the tingy ting?
Oh yeah, the character playbook. Sure thing.
I need to find myself. Yeah, Sway is minus 1. Do I need help with that?
I don't think you do. No.
What's that thingy thing where you have over people?
Oh, treaty.
Yeah.
Oh, treaty. I think you spend. No, maybe you can spend it on a character level. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of like data. I think you can blow
Let
it,
me look.
but I'm not sure. I may be remembering wrong. I feel like I remember thinking you could. burn
You
both
can spend a point of
versus-
data, but you don't have any data.
Right. Wait, can you not spend treaty on a character level?
Let me double check. I know there's a place that that talks about particularly like what you can spend treaty on. I can double check that.
I mean, I can just roll first and see if it's even worth it to do that.
Well,
I think you might have to do that before
Yeah.
you roll.
let's make sure.
Is the thing,
Gotcha.
because I think it gives you advantage or something if it does anything. But that's what data does, so maybe not.
Okay, when you call in an obligation another family has to you, spend 1 treaty and choose 1. Gain +2 on a move that targets them. Take a surplus from them. Get them to back you up. Fall into indecision or protect something important. Yeah, so you can spend a treaty to give your
I'll
yourself a +2.
get them to back me up.
What's the
Well, that one's
can
get
I
them
do
to back
that?
you up. Fall into an indecision or protect something important.
what's
I think that means like manpower sort of a thing. I don't know if I think in this case I think it would be you could use the +2, but
Okay.
now just as a point of note, I think I'm gonna check the treaty thing. You have 2 treaty on me. Let me check why. Because I think it's because of this that you have treaty.
I think it's because some of my people are already helping you a little bit.
It says Jared, which at the time I
Right.
didn't have your faction, provides us
Yeah.
with critical assets and intel. Can't find out because the sect is protecting us, would be ousted. So yeah, there's at least 1 cell that's already protecting us, I guess. And only Eskander and the closest advisors know about it. Which, yeah. Okay. So I guess you could use treaty here. Although, yeah. Because I was just thinking maybe it wouldn't apply here because you're getting it here, but I think that it has to be that you already have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. This is probably like a group that protects Eskander specifically
Yeah.
and like his council, and so I don't even know he has it. Okay, cool.
Yep. So you're now rolling with a +1 instead.
2d6.
Oh, you get a +2 for spending the.
Yeah, he had a -1. Now he gets a +1
Right.
in total.
Wowza.
Awesome.
Whoa,
Perfect.
nice.
All right, on a 10+, let's see. On a 10+, they pick 1. So David, go to the find common ground move and character moves and pick 1 thing that he has to do here to get you to agree.
Okay. Why would I? Oh, it's worded for them. Okay, I was like, why would I reduce the threat that I pose to him? All right, I get it. Oh man, these are all really good. I wish you'd rolled worse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just pick one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wow.
You reveal your full agenda here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna arm your slave population and then lead them in revolt against you.
Oof. Yeah, I think it's between that one or I can back out.
Yeah, they can back out as soon as it costs them.
I think, Caleb, is it saying too much that I'm like, okay, sure, but if they turn guns on us, you have to kill them all? Is that good enough for they can back out as soon as it costs them?
I think so, right? That probably makes sense, Jared.
Like
right?
Me betray them, or
Like,
as in, like,
specifically, or
the last watch is going to be called on to put down any Hellbreakers that use their weapons against. So you'd have to do double work because everyone would, like, the last watch would be aware of that. So Cassius particularly would have to do like double work to make sure that they actually would still side with the Hellbreakers, right? Like when.
yeah.
shots
So as a
actually
faction, you guys would be like, yeah, sure. Your people are uprising. We'll help you kill them.
So rules wise, can I just say I agree to it and then face the consequences?
that's what
if I
he's
don't,
saying.
That's
or-
what I'm
as
saying.
as a faction, no.
the faction itself
But-
would understand that is the assumption. So what we'd have to do is Cassius himself would have to do like scene work where he would actually like try to convince the Last Watch, like, actually this is the secret plan, and so we'd have to play that out.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay, cool. All right, then I think it's time for Beirut to
yeah,
make the
but-
roll.
I'm still not sure if I want to do that or reveal the full agenda.
okay.
I think I'm gonna do that. I think I want to reveal full agenda, but I think that it's cooler to not do that.
Yeah.
So, I don't always have to metagame. Or not metagame, but power game.
Yep.
So okay. So he says, I suppose that could be arranged, though I'm sure you're aware that arming a populace can sometimes have unfortunate circumstances. People begin to think above their station when they have opportunity to do so. So I will need your organization's signed word, of course, in contract that if they secret contract that if they turn on us, you will do your job and you will put that resistance down.
That's agreeable. I again don't like killing people, but if someone's going to bite the hand that's feeding them and trying to give them a better station than what they currently are, I understand.
I'm glad we think
They
the
have-
same on the matter. So yes, your station in Azimuth, a place and payroll to arm and train a militia from, I'm sorry, the name of the place is escaping me. What was it? The city?
Nadir, Kelith.
Kelith. In Kelith, and a permanent station for the, holy cow, why am I so bad with names? What is, Jared, what's your faction's name?
The Last Watch.
Thank you. A permanent station for the Last Watch in the perihelion sectors of Nadir. Does that sound correct?
And of course, fair wages, supplies, and the ability to still go about our Eldritch Crusade.
Of course. Yes. And I think as I'm saying those things, I glance towards Taller, like I'm expecting him to start creating a contract essentially to sign.
Okay.
One last thing, and what's your bodyguard's name?
Nissa.
Nissa.
Does my post come with a bodyguard? And I glance pointedly at her.
Yeah, she
chuckles
blushes.
and looks at you and says, "Your post will be as a bodyguard, though you won't have to do much actual bodyguarding. But that is going to be my justification for getting you on Azimuth. Although I suppose your personal relations on Azimuth are your business."
Yeah, you look between Nissa and Cassius. Like,
I'd say those arrangements are fair.
okay, yeah. So, well, we actually have to make the roll here. In some way, there has to be some sort of thing here.
Yes, David, roll another 4. Give me more stuff.
Exactly right, because then he'll have to. Yeah.
I can't physically roll a 4, but I will try. Okay. So it's 3d6 minus or plus 3, and then I take the lower 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you prestige or something? Wow.
I have a move. No. How did I get that?
Taller has a +1 he gives you.
Oh, he does? Then I get a +4 because my character has +3.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's because I think as the Immortals we get an extra +1 to something, but then we also have to take a weird like quirk.
Oh yes.
I don't know. Okay. So, wow, oh my gosh, I did roll a 4, I think, but I got a +4, so it's an 8.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's an 8.
So I got 2 1s because that's the only way that I can roll dice.
Okay, cool.
Oh gosh.
Well, that's the thing. No, yeah, because you're rolling a disadvantage. Remember?
Yeah. I
right.
dropped.
So it's a 1, 1, and a 4. Your total roll is 6.
It's
you
a
take
3
the
and a 1.
you take
Oh
the
no,
2
you're right.
lowest.
Duh,
Yeah.
duh. I was doing advantage, not disadvantage.
Yeah.
Right.
So this would be,
So
I think, find common
6.
ground, right? Is the roll that
Yeah,
you're
you're right.
rolling here?
Yeah, it would be. Also, let me. Although honestly, I feel like that's what we did, right? I feel like he already gave a.
And now you're giving to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Combat.
Let me check something on move wise here. Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jared, you pick what, 3 then?
I think let's do this. Jared, so go to the find a common ground move and character moves.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose 2 of those options, and then I'm also going to have something else happen as the GM.
Okay.
Well, wow. Okay. Oh, I can change specific parts of the task. Can back out as soon as it costs them. Oops. I don't really quite know the politics within your cities, but do your people have like weaponry?
We have jewelry we wear that makes our voices light on fire, basically. So, kind of. I don't know how often people in Nadir have that. Everyone in Azimuth has it.
Okay.
But people in Nadir probably only like the higher tier people, even in Perihelion, have it. I mean, nobody who's not a Perihelion has one for sure, unless they got it illegally, which I'm sure is a thing.
I think my GM move for this whole thing is going to be, I'm going to give you a need, David. I think because of this deal that you're going to make here, the faction as a whole will accept it because you're, an elder and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you get the need of morale. Your family has descended into backbiting, factionalism, and despair. Any attempt to organize them into a group action is likely to run into complaint, sabotage, or apathy. So they're really split on the whole Last Watch thing.
How do I not have that already? All right, yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so that's like the camel that breaks the straw's back.
I mean, you really only need one. Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I'm honestly I feel like I already had that in mind. To be fair.
Yeah,
so
it's the last straw that needed to lead to this whole thing.
So so morale is a need. No, which means
your family has descended into backbiting, factionalism, and despair. Any attempt to organize them into a group action is likely to run into complaint, sabotage, or apathy.
So,
gotcha.
Hey, Caleb, since you took morale from him, I'm going to choose you give them something now that's worth it, and I want morale.
Okay, yeah, so maybe because of the deal you made here, this actually leads to the factionalism sort of ceasing for now.
No, I think he wants morale.
Right, that's what I'm saying. As in for the last.
Oh,
watch,
his he has factionalism too.
Has a need,
yeah. And that makes sense because
sense.
the whole point was that I didn't want people who were trying to kill us, and so you basically convinced them all not to do that.
Yeah, you gather them all under one idea now.
I think that's a really cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
and it makes sense because we're giving you the ability to do that by giving you a central location and. Yeah.
So I mean, there's still the independent cells thing is obviously still true, but you've managed to at least bring them under one idea enough that they don't like try to sabotage anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is you don't have a need for morale, but you also don't have a surplus for morale, right? A surplus would be your family has a clear sense of shared purpose, camaraderie, and fellowship. They believe in each other and think that the family can work together to do great things. That is not true about your faction yet. You have just enough morale to not lead into backbiting, factionalism, and despair.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good one. And
I don't know which other one I should do that would be narratively interesting.
Let's take a look at the options. I mean, if you wanted to choose, they can back out as soon as it costs them.
Yeah, but I mean, having a defense force that can just I would say no.
Specifically,
point, right?
Specifically about the Hellbreaker thing, right? So then we don't have to make Jared do the rolls to make the Last Watch not.
Well, but that would be weird, right? Because I picked that about that when he made the roll.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
That would be kind of weird.
I mean, I could change a specific part of the task and just choose that one.
Right, because that's the thing here. Is
I
I'm
don't
curious as to what
Well,
the
Well, yeah, that
order of
actually isn't
operations
part of the
here.
task. That's part of our requirement of the task.
I-
The task was actually to arm them.
Does it have to be specifically
Right.
from David, or can it be like from the situation?
Usually specifically
I think
from
it
me.
has to be from me because you're
Okay.
asking this of me basically as
Gotcha.
a
Yeah.
requirement. I mean, you could ask for full agenda, but I don't know that there's actually anything interesting to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could get another treaty.
Uh,
You could get
yeah,
back
you
your
could just
treaty.
do treaty. Yeah,
Okay.
which kind of makes sense because
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
actually no, it really makes sense because you're literally coming up to azimuth with me.
I think I'm gonna maybe change a specific thing and just ask for like, as well as the the armament of the Hellbreakers, maybe slightly, since they're going to be like a fighting force. You want them to be on full, like be fully capable. So maybe like better living conditions. Such coming with the territory of protecting.
So yeah, so maybe instead of freeing the Hellbreakers and their kin, there is a stipulation in there where you pass some sort of idea where you have to like improve their conditions a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing that the Parahelians could even do is the thing. I don't know if, because that's so many people, I don't know if there's a way for us to raise their living standard as a whole. I don't know if that's possible.
Maybe that's a thing you have to look into in the future, right? Like that's something that is a stipulation, and then the Barriers or the Parahelians as a whole will have to find a way to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I have an idea that won't work and will go horribly, but my idea is we're gonna try the terraforming thing again. Just make everybody's life great. Yeah.
Ooh, you know what? You have terraforming stuff, don't you?
Not really.
Well,
I mean, like we kind of do, but mechanically I don't. So it's more like we have terraforming that works for us, but we can't actually do it to anybody else.
So part of my job is helping you get like the magic stuff, right?
Kinda, yeah.
I want the magic stuff.
You want to have?
I want the stuff that I find.
Well, I think that makes sense because I don't know that we would let someone at azimuth without being like one of us, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. So I think that makes sense, actually.
Are you gonna make me? I want to be made immortal too.
I mean, that's what it would do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But I thought you said there were certain parts of azimuth that were like locked off or whatever that you'd have.
Yeah. Well, so when I said that, what I meant, for one, there's lots of crazy things that let us like teleport around and do weird stuff that we don't understand. Okay. But specifically, there's one place where we get the essentially like the nanobot things that make up our bodies to make us immortal. But there's a thing defending it, and it's always in our way. And so that was what I was talking about specifically. But yeah, the rare materials we have are those things. So we have a surplus in them, so we could do that. Okay. I think narratively easily.
I want to be immortal.
Okay. I don't know how mechanically that'll work, but I like that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait, no, never mind. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I guess that's the solution there. Cool.
Now, Caleb, this is up to you, I guess. But my faction, I took a move that says I can make one character that is actually immortal, and because technically my characters I think still die of age, sort of, but they like stick around as like sort of people, right? Because there's lots of ghost imagery in the thing, and the thing that makes me think that is the fact that there's a move that makes a character actually immortal.
Yeah.
That where you can come back age to age, because none of my other characters can do that. So, do you think it would be too much of an abuse to that move to have it apply to Jared's character?
I think we should figure that out in a longer conversation, maybe off screen.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure what I want that to look like yet, but he definitely should like get access to like some of the weird demigod technology. But like
mostly my thought was that it would be kind of lame for Jared if he got this cool immortality thing and it didn't change anything, because
I know,
mechanically it wouldn't. So okay. Cool.
Because I feel like there may even have to be like a bigger process there that happens to like make someone immortal like that too, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you can just be like, you're immortal now, good job.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, that's true. I did have an idea that
So he could have
he went through
access
other
to the
stuff, but-
process, but we'd have to maybe even play that out where he like
right.
gains
Well,
the
and
powers.
I don't
or
know
whatever.
about you, but I think as a faction, finding a way to make that a thing that more people could do is a thing they'd be interested in. But that's
Yeah.
also mechanically bridging that move. So I don't know if you're cool with that or not.
Mhm,
But
yeah, I think that'd be fine.
okay, cool. Well, in that case, I guess in character you say that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it was that you wanted to be immortal, and also that you wanted one. What was the other thing? What was the first thing?
Yeah, you're giving me morale.
Right. Okay, so that's not really a thing we talk about, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does he ask for that then? Or do we want to just?
We could just finagle that. Yeah, we could.
Yeah, I
we
think
could
we.
move on from there. Yeah.
It's been going a couple hours,
Yeah.
so yeah. So yeah, basically, I think as he's talking, he looks over to Tyler and has him essentially write up a contract, like an official document.
Yeah, he brings up this light hologram and
data
just
pad,
starts, like,
yeah.
yeah.
And mostly that's because then if you guys don't shoot them, I have a proof that you were supposed to when they rebel. Cool. All right.
Cool. Awesome. So
I'm-
let's do
I'm
this
happy
real
with it
quick.
there.
Yeah, let's do. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and we'll pop in and see what everybody else was up to during this time. So
Cool.
stick around. That was a really, really cool scene and just a cool kind of stuff that was happening between the Perihelions and the Last Watch. I'm about it. I like Cassius. I like Beirut. It's cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it was
We'll
fun.
be right back with more Hellbreaker Sequence right after this quick break.